Well, last time out on the Lega Football podcast, we dived in to see who would be the Serie B goalkeeper of the season. And after much deliberation and a lot of analysis, it was Leandro Ciccizola who took the title, and even above Marco Carnesecchi. So as we move forward, we have to now look at that defensive backline. One thing in particular that Serie B is renowned for is a solid defense. Lecce won the league in 2021-22, boasting the lowest total of goals conceded and was thus duly awarded top flight status for 2022-23. Great defensive records alone won't necessarily attain promotion, as Monza, Cittadella and Cremonese found out in recent years. Pordenone, with 71 goals, was deservedly relegated to Lega Pro alongside Crotone, who conceded 61. Incredibly, Ternana claimed 10th position, just 4 points adrift of the playoff zone, yet equalled Crotone's poor record courtesy of 5 own goals, the most of any team in the past season. Curiously, Pordenone didn't concede 1. Ascoli was the strongest team on the road with 35 points. Predictably, Lecce did most of their damage at home with 44 of 71 points secured at the Via del Mare. And we'll see if they can repeat that in this coming season in Serie A. Which individual defenders were the very best of Italy's second division? Recently, Lega B put it to the fans to vote for the Serie B Best 11 for 2021-22, and the Tifosi, they chose Marco Carnesecchi in goal, and the backline of Samuele Birindelli of Pisa at right back, his Nerazzurro cohort Pietro Beruato on the left side, and the centre-half pair of Cremonese's Caleb Okoli and Federico Gatti of Frosinone. And after assessing the limited statistics available on the FBref.com website, we've listed the most consistent defender of each Serie B club for 2021-22. The criteria for each candidate: they must have played the whole season in Serie B and a minimum of 25 games. That's roughly 2/3 of the 38-game regular season. 59 defenders qualified under this criteria. Di Gennaro of Alessandria, their centre-back, 29 games, 12 cautions though. Did score 3 goals, but Alessandria, as we all know, are down in Serie C for the upcoming season. For Ascoli, it was Baschirotto, the right back, 36 games, 10 yellow cards and 2 goals. Goals are not one of the variables that are going to decide who is the best defender, but they may be a deciding factor. Letizia of Benevento, their trusty right back. You'd all remember him from a super strike against Sampdoria in Serie A a couple of years ago. 4 yellow cards only in 34 games. Quite a good disciplinary record. 1 goal and 3 assists, of course. That delicious right boot of Gaetano Letizia. Cistana of Brescia, a centre-back, 37 games for 6 yellow cards and 4 goals. So quite a solid contribution from Andrea Cistana. For Cittadella, it was Daniele Donnarumma, their centre-back, 26 games, 5 yellows, no goals or assists. For Como, it was their right back on loan from Spezia, Luca Vignali, 32 games, 6 yellows, 3 goals and 3 assists. For Cosenza, well, they managed to stay up, but they won the playout over Vicenza. It was Michele Rigione who led their backline, their centre-back, 34 games in the regular season, just the 5 yellow cards there. So they were dependent upon Rigione. For Cremonese, it was their right-back who was the most consistent. That was Ser Nicola, a performance of 35 games, 13 yellow cards, 5 goals, 2 assists. A big year for the Cremonese right-sided defender. For Crotone, they went down. It was Ionut Nedelsiaru, their Romanian central defender, 32 games and 6 yellows, 2 goals for him. Frosinone, well, Federico Gatti, huge season, their central defender. First ever season in Serie B for him at 23 years of age. 35 games, 13 yellow cards. He has the record for most yellow cards in the league, so he was not afraid to get down and dirty. 5 goals as well and 2 assists. So a mammoth contribution from Gatti. No one was expecting that. He'd only ever played the 1 season in Serie C. Moving on to the Serie B champion Lecce, it was Fabio Lucioni. 37 games in the regular season, 8 yellow cards, a goal and an assist to go with that. Monza, they won the playoff over Pisa. Carlos Augusto, their left wing back who could slot into a back three if necessary, does like to invert, can shoot on both feet. So he's only 22 years old. The Brazilian, 32 games, 7 yellows, 2 goals and 1 assist in the regular season. Parma, well, it was a breakout year for Kobu, the French central defender. 35 games, just the 5 yellows, 2 goals and 3 assists. Perugia, they came up from Serie C. They played a 3-man defense under Massimiliano Alvini, and it was Filippo Sgarbi who led that 3-man backline. 33 games, just 2 yellows, 1 goal and no assists for the season. But he's a youngster. He's one to keep your eye on. Pisa, brilliant backline for Pisa, one of the best defenders in the league. 36 games for Antonio Caracciolo, their central defender who suffered injury late in the season. 10 yellows, 2 goals, no assists. Any one of their 4 starting defenders could have been their most consistent. They all contributed immensely throughout the season. We'll move on to Pordenone, who ended the season in 20th place, relegated down to Lega Pro. Central defender is El Kouakibi, 25 games, 9 yellows in there, just the 1 assist and no goals. Regina Di Chiara, their central defender, 33 games, 10 yellows, 1 goal and 3 assists. For Spal, it was the right back, Lorenzo Dickman, 32 games, 6 yellows, 3 goals, 3 assists. So big contribution from him. One of those players that helped them stay up. They just avoided the play-out zone, which is quite a surprise because Spal had quite a solid squad and even brought in Giuseppe Rossi at one stage. Ternana, Bruno Martella, the left back. He can also play on the right at times. 32 games, 4 yellows, 2 goals, 2 assists. And for Vicenza, it was Bruscagin, their central back, relegated courtesy of losing the play-out to Cosenza. 29 games, 6 yellows, no goals and the 1 assist. So those are the Serie B defenders with the most consistency per club. Here are some interesting data points for most minutes, goals, assists, yellow cards and red cards. Most minutes in the regular season was Maxime Leverbe, 3,322 minutes at Pisa. Most goals, Federico Gatti, 5 for Frosinone. Most assists, Marco Pajac, the left back for Brescia, 7 assists. Yellow cards, Federico Gatti again with 13. Red cards, Matteo Sollini of Como, just the 2 red cards. Most starts in the regular season, 37 games is the league record for 2021-22 and split 3 ways between Cistana, Lucioni and Leverbe. And youngest defender to play over 30 games, that's Enrico Del Prato, 21-year-old Parma defender with 34 games in a big season for Del Prato. And he's re-signed with the Ducali for the upcoming Serie B season. So let's move on to the centre-half pairing. It's time to enlist 2 pillars to stand firm and lead that backline. Firstly, a selection that picks itself, and what a debut Serie B season for Frosinone's Federico Gatti, who until 2020 was laying bricks for a living. After just 18 games for the Canarini, Juventus came in during the January window to snap up the then 23-year-old for €4.5 million and allow him to conclude the season on loan with Fabio Grosso's side. He was the standout defender there alongside Cotali as well. So he is the first picked in this 4-man backline. Then there's an unlikely hero. The competition was fierce for this one. Just shading Antonio Caracciolo, Fabio Lucioni and Caleb Okoli is Andrea Cistana of Brescia. With 3 quality seasons already behind him, the Biancazzurro Dynamo commanded his troops on 37 occasions and showcased his attacking qualities with 4 goals. All of this while only receiving 6 cautions. The fans on Twitter, they all voted for Caleb Okoli. He was a close call. He does display vision with superb vertical passing and marauding runs forward. However, his stats simply didn't match it against candidates with more experience and more game time. Cistana played 10 extra games than Okoli throughout the regular season. Honourable mentions must go to Caracciolo, Kobu, Lucioni, Sgarbi, Okoli, Botteguin of Ascoli, Di Chiara, Regina, Leverbe and Del Prato. So the Lega Football central defenders Andrea Cistana and Federico Gatti. To support them on each flank, at right back, the most consistent throughout the campaign was Samuele Birindelli. For anyone who watched enough Pisa games, they would know this. He provided tireless running up and down the right flank, tracked back in good time, and was one of the team leaders and was captain in that playoff final against Monza. He's linked with a Serie A move where he could follow in his father's footsteps. That's Alessandro Birindelli, who won 3 Scudetti for Juventus between 1997 and 2008, was capped by Italy on 6 different occasions. Honourable mentions must go to Lorenzo Dickmann, Luca Vignali, Leonardo San Nicola, Gaetano Letizia, Federico Baschirotto, and Tommaso Cassandro of Cittadella. He didn't qualify for the senior best 11 due to falling short of the games required. He fell short by just the one, but I have seen Cassandro play live. Magnificent right back. He's young as well, and we will be seeing big things from Cassandro in the future. So the Lega Football right back is Samuele Birindelli. Moving on to the left side of defence. Another tough pick here, however. Both Marco Pajac and Carlos Augusto were pipped by Pisa's Pietro Beroato, who was simply sensational for Pisa for the entirety of the season. On loan from Juventus, the Nerazzurri, they're keen to bring him back on a permanent deal. The genes of the Beroato family are impeccable. Pietro is the son of former Lazio and Torino defender Paolo, and his sister Greta is a Miss Italia finalist for Tuscany. Honourable mentions must go to Bruno Matella, Carlos Augusto, Dan Foulon of Benevento, Marco Pajac, and Emanuel Valeri of Cremonese. So we now have the first 5 members of the Lega Football Serie B Best 11 for 2021-22. It's Leandro Ciccizola of Perugia. He is guarding the goal. In front of him, Federico Gatti of Frosinone, Andrea Cistana of Brescia, and Birindelli of Pisa, and Beroato, also of Pisa, on the left side. But defender of the season goes to Federico Gatti, capping off the term with 35 appearances. Gatti contributed 5 league goals and made his national team debut for Italy against England, where he was able to maintain a clean sheet against the likes of Tammy Abraham, Raheem Sterling, and Harry Kane. Let's go down and have a look at the youth of Serie B, the under-23 version of the Serie B Best 11 by Lega Football. We don't double up at Lega Football, so any under-23 players selected for the senior Serie B Best 11 are not considered for the Serie B under-23 squad. The beauty of the Italian second division is that there are so many talented youngsters on show regularly. They don't usually get that go in the top division. One Giovane standout player was Tommaso Cassandro, who excelled on the right side for Cittadella, as I was saying earlier. Those Odo-like precision passing and crossing in centrally for his strike force. He is named on the right side of defence in this under-23 side. Over on the left side is Carlos Augusto. Now, even the fans who voted for the official Lega B Best 11, it was neck and neck with Carlos Augusto and Pietro Beroato. So with Beroato in the senior team, Carlos Augusto will be named on the left side of defence in the under-23s. He's 22 years old. In the middle, these selections pick themselves. Or perhaps there was one that was in dispute with Del Prato, very close to making this starting 11. It was Caleb Colli of Cremonese and Elias Cobu of Parma. They were both magnificent for Cremonese and Parma, respectively, this season. Honourable mentions go to Filippo Sgarbi, Enrico Del Prato, Emanuele Valeri, and Dan Foulon. And we need to make mention of Perugia and what a performance they put in this past season. Freshly promoted from Serie C Lega Pro, Perugia's backline ranked second only to Lecce at the conclusion of the regular season, conceding just 32 goals under Massimiliano Alvini and his 3-5-2 formation, which featured Christian Dell'Orco, Marcos Curado, and Filippo Sgarbi mainly as their 3-man backline. Massimiliano Alvini has now taken the coaching role at Serie A club Cremonese. They ended the season in 8th place, Perugia. The Grifone remained unbeaten against Lecce. They got 2 draws from the eventual champions, while all remaining top 8 sides managed to collectively score just 11 times against Perugia throughout the regular season. There's a good lead duration statistic here. Perugia trailed their opponents for just 15.5% of match time on average, behind only Lecce, Pisa, and Benevento. Of their 8 defeats, Perugia lost by more than a goal twice only. Remarkable for a newly promoted club. Now let's cap this section off with the best Serie B defence for 2021-22. We're talking the best club in terms of defense. It's Lecce. Moving forward, in the next episodes, we will examine the best midfielders, attackers, and coaches of Serie B. If you'd like to know more about the Serie B goalkeeper of the season, you can rewind. Go back to the previous episode of Lega Football.